Welcome students, welcome once again. So we are getting closer and closer to advanced paper. So as suggested, requested by few of the students, and that was actually in the plan also. So I prepared one miscellaneous practice sheet. Okay, so you can take it as a like as a test also. See, it's not really going to be a test. Don't try to test yourself at the last moment. But okay, you will find the questions here not based on one chapter. Of course, it's a miscellaneous sheet, so you can just try to solve this question. Spend 2-3 hours or maybe 1 to 2 hours going through all the 15 questions. Try to attempt them. I have already posted the question in the post section of the YouTube channel. Okay, so try to attempt those questions before starting or watching this video or before looking at the solution. Okay, so let's start quickly. So starting with the first question here, it's a complex number question. If z1, z2, z10 are non-real roots of this equation. The equation is z is for 12 plus z is for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. There's no, see, mark it. There's no z is for 11 term. There's no z is for 1 term in this equation. So these are 10 roots of this equation. So the equation I'm rewriting here, z is for 10 plus z is for 9 till z cube z square, and then you have equal to 1. Okay, where this is one condition which has to be which will hold for all z1, z2, z3 till z10. That means z1 cube plus 1 can't be 0, z2 cube plus 1 can't be 0, likewise z10 cube plus 1 can't be 0. We have to evaluate the value of this expression. Okay. Now see, the first thing, since they are the roots of the equation, there are 10 roots of the equation, non-real roots of the equation. Okay, and see, what I tried first was, I tried to complete this equation, okay, till z is for 10. So I added z, so I will be subtracting z here. Now see, what happened is, now as all of you can see, now this is a GP, perfect GP, whose sum you can write it as z is for 11 minus 1 upon z minus 1. Interestingly, if you take z common from these two terms, we get this. So that I according to me, I think that is the key step in this question. So it's not that easy. As I said, I thought to do this. No, I tried several main things, and then after maybe some time, that thing happened. By trying something, like I did z is by 11 and z both the sides, then try a few things, then at some point of time I realized using this I got z is by 11 minus 1 as common. So that actually helped me in realizing that it may help. Why? Because see, at least we can say either z is by 11 minus 1 is 0. So now we are looking at 11th roots of unity. Okay, so if that is the case, it's really going to be a simple one. But then the other point is, what about this one? What if this is 0? Okay, this may not be 0, this is 0. So if you simplify it, you get it as z square minus z plus 1. Now this can't be 0. Why? The simple thing is, see, we are given zi cube plus 1 can't be 0. Now its factors are zi plus 1 and zi square minus zi plus 1. Now this can't be, and see, zi can't be minus 1. Why? Because they are the non-real roots of the equation. So zi can't be real. So zi plus 1 can't be 0, and moreover, this overall expression can't be 0, so this also can't be 0. So the only possibility here is that this is 0, and this leads us to the 11 roots of unity. So what are those roots? So roots are 1, and this, the 10 non-real roots which we are given is this. Okay, so that's it. And see, one more thing we need to keep in our mind, for nth roots of unity, if n is odd, we have only one real root and rest roots are imaginary, and they occur in conjugate pair. Okay, so that's it. Now what? Now we know the sum of all the roots of unity is 0. Okay, now see, So what are we actually talking about? We are talking about like the kth root of unity. So do we remember the general form bachcho of root of 11th root of unity? If this is nth root of unity, kth root of nth roots of unity. Okay, so if nth root of unity we are talking about, then in denominator within the argument within the angle you will be having n. Since we are talking about 11th root of unity, so we have 11 here plus iota sine 2k pi by 11. Okay, now see, since in the question we are required to get the values for z1 raised to the power 2023 plus z2 raised to the power 2023 and so on and so on. Okay, so if I raise this root in general to the power 2023, so what do we get? We will get here 4046 k pi by 11 plus iota sine 4046 k pi by 11. Okay, now what next? See, what I'm actually trying, let me tell you all, I'm trying here that can I rewrite this expression, I mean raising to the power using De Moivre's theorem. Now can I rewrite it so as to get it something which is comparable to this form or not? Now how will we, I'll be now next trying to use those identities cos pi plus theta, sin pi plus theta, cos 2 pi minus theta, 2 pi plus theta, whatever we get. So for that, divide this by 11. So 11 3 33, 74 6 86 77. Okay, 86 and this is 9k pi by 11. Now see, that won't help. Why? Because if I have to compare, it should be even 2k pi. So but again, see, luckily here what I can write here, I mean see, that we can always manage though, but so I will write it as 368 minus 2k pi by 11. All of you agree, I believe, and this is of course k pi here also, isn't that? So plus iota sine 368 k pi minus 2k pi by 11. Now what? See, since it's an even multiple of pi, so I can easily replace it with 2 pi minus 2k pi by 11 plus iota sine 2 pi. I think all of you agree, bachcho? We know this? Okay, for even multiple of pi, we compare with the identities related to 2 pi. For odd multiple of pi, we compare it with pi. Okay, so now cos 2 pi minus theta is nothing but cos theta. So 2k pi by 11. Minus iota sine 2k pi minus theta is minus sine theta, so minus 2k pi by 11. Now what's the difference? So see, zk raised to the power 2023 is actually the conjugate of zk bar. Isn't that fair enough? Okay, so and we already know they appear in conjugate pairs. So if z1 is a root, its conjugate will be one of the other root among z10. I think all of you agree, isn't that? Okay, so again, so if I am just adding them up and see, the one is a real number, so there are 5 complex and there are 5 their corresponding conjugate. So if this is a root, so of course the another one will be definitely its conjugate for sure, because again the property says z is for 2023, whole conjugate is z conjugate raised to the power 2023. I think I am clear, bachcho, isn't that? So what does that mean? So this is nothing but z1 plus z2 and z10, and that is nothing but minus 1. So that should be the answer. Okay, all of you I believe would have understood that. Okay, if I again you wish, so I can just try to explain it again. Zk is a root, then its conjugate will also be one of the root among these 10. Okay, so zk raised to the power 2023 is actually zk bar. Okay, so again, so there will be some power which will give you zk. So if you have a root, then you always have its conjugate for any real polynomial equation. So ultimately from z1 to z10, when you raise all to 2023, they will just shift their position. But all those 10 roots you are again going to get in any case. Okay, so that was the logic here. so that was the first question. Now moving to the next one, let fx be a monotonic and differentiable function satisfying this. Okay, see, whenever I look at any such statement, we have already done such type of question. The first thing I try is Newton-Leibniz rule of differentiation for definite integration. So if I differentiate both the sides with respect to x, so we get f inverse of f of x into the derivative of upper limit. Lower limit is a constant, we don't need to use it, minus cos of x minus f of x into its derivative, which is 1, and this is equal to 0. Okay, now let's see what do we get. So it's x times f dash x minus cos x plus f of x equal to 0. Okay, so I think we are heading towards LDE, f dash x, so I'm writing it as dy by dx divided by fx plus f of x by x is equal to cos x by x, isn't that? Now the integrating factor is, so it's a LDE, all of you can see. So of course I wrote f of x, so I'll replace here it with y because I'm using y here. Okay, so it's y by x. So integrating factor is e raised to the power integral of 1 by x dx, so which is nothing but x. So multiply both the side by x and integrating both the side, we know what do we get. We get in dependent variable into integrating factor, which is x itself, and then this is cos x by x into integrating factor, and you integrate here. So this is nothing but sin x. So f of course plus c. So f of x is sin x. X fx is sin x plus c. Now are we given something? We are given f of 0 is 1. So you replace x by 0. So this is 0, this is 0. So c is gone. So now fx is, because see, that's why I didn't first, you would have observed I was taking it to the denominator, but I remember that they have given the value for 0. So if I take x is equal to 0 in the denominator, we can't say that replacing x by 0, isn't that? No, we can try to find the limiting value. That's a different thing. Anyways, so fx is nothing but sin x by x. That's it. Okay, so now they have asked 0 to pi by 2 fx integral, I think. Estimation, see, we can't integrate, I believe, isn't that? So it's 0 to pi by 2 sin x by x dx. See, they have said, okay, let this be delta, then greatest integer of delta is. Okay, so now see, we know that sin x by x in any case is less than 1. Of course, between 0 to pi by 2, it's less than 1 always, isn't that? So we can write that this integral 0 to pi by 2 sin x by x dx is less than or equal to 0 to pi by 2 1 dx, which is less than pi by 2. So so in that case, see, even if it's delta, okay, so greatest integer of this can be 1 here. Okay, so whatever value it is, it has to be between 1 and 2, and that's what I am trying to claim here. But on the other side, we need to find the lower limit also. Okay, so for that you can just try to get it. Will that be, how can we do it? 0 to pi by 2. Pi by 2 is greater than 1. It's greater than 1. So if I write but that will be the case when x is greater than 1, isn't that? Whereas x is 0 to okay, wait. Okay, that might be a problem here. Ajay, one more thing. Okay, I just don't remember. In the last thing, I left that question number 8. Okay, So I gave it to my student before coming here for recording. When I went out, then he gave up. It was a really, I mean, see the way you think. So at that moment it didn't strike me. So I'm just give me a moment. Okay, because I was thinking on this. So all of a sudden I realized that I would have discussed that one also. It was something like, I don't remember the question exactly. X dx is equal to y dy 3x square plus 2y square and something like minus 8 plus 8, whatever it is. See, simple. X square as t, y square as z. So done. So x square as t, y square as z. So x dx is dt and this is dz, and then it is 3t plus 2z minus 8. So it is nothing like rather dt by dz. So now you can convert it to linear. I mean, it's a linear by linear type of thing. And then we know we can do it using the we can easily transform it to what? Homogeneous form of differential equation. So I really appreciated that, my student, because see, the way you think, okay, so that didn't strike me that day. Okay, so anyways, that was the question. So now let's quickly, now I think all of you can complete it. So I just left that question because, so why that I could recall it, because again I was thinking that I don't know, when I took it as a doubt, what I did and why okay, there might be something like less than there, that might be missing. So okay, let me once check it. There might be typing up, because that's what I remember. So that's why I went with the flow and do it. Then I realized it's equal to lambda. Okay, so give me a minute. I mean, I will be more interested in moving to the next question so that we can finish it quickly. And then again, and maybe in the next video, if I could correct it or there's any correction, I will let you know. But okay, so now that's the next question. Limit n tends to infinity 1 by n summation. Okay, so summation p goes from 0 to n. I will write it as 7 by 5 raised to the power p by n into 5, isn't that? So 5 is a constant, so 5 times limit n tends to infinity. And now see, this is nothing but a simple, very simple type of question, which is like limit, which can be easily solved using the definite integration, and we all know we can replace it with 0 to 1, 7 by 5 raised to the power x dx, and its integral is 7 by 5 raised to the power x upon ln of 7 by 5 from 0 to 1. Okay, so if it's 1, 7 by 5 minus 0, which is 1, so it is nothing but 5 times. We have 5 times 5 into 2 by 5 upon ln 7 minus ln 5, and that's done. Okay, so because of this format, I selected this question. Now you have it 2, 2, so this is 7, this is 5, x is 7, y is 5. So moving quickly to the next one. Fourth one is the volume of tetrahedron of PABC is 1 by 6 unit. Also angle ACB is, so see, ACB, this angle is given to be pi by 4. AP plus BC plus AC, so wait, BC I will call it as A, this is C, this is B. Okay, so we are given AP plus BC, which is A, plus CB, which is rather AC, B by root 2 is equal to 3. Okay, that's what we are given. Volume of tetrahedron is given, which is PABC 1 by 6. And we should remember, okay, volume of tetrahedron is nothing but 1/6 the volume of what? 1/6 the volume of the parallelopipe. Okay, so where AP is perpendicular to ABC. Now see, if we look for AP is perpendicular to this thing. Now if I consider, bachon, the prism, what does that mean? If I project it outside, okay, then the height is AP. The height of the prism is directly AP, and volume of prism in that case, see, whenever you have a case when the third dimension of the body, of course the three-dimensional body, when the third dimension is projected out of the base perpendicular to the base, in that case volume is area of base into height. Now for example, take it as cylinder. In cylinder, the third dimension, its height is of course perpendicular to the base, so the volume is pi r square into h. In cuboid we have it, but in case of cone, We don't say that. Why? Because in that case the third dimension, which is being projected out of the base, is not perpendicular in cone. Okay, that's why we can't say in case of cone we don't have that direct formula, but in case of prism, when we are projecting it outside perpendicular to the base, volume of prism is area of base into height. So area of triangle ABC into height AP. Okay, now see, volume of tetrahedron is 1/3 the volume of prism. बच्चों, now sometime my students ask me, how can I say that? See, do I have a proof? I know, but still I am so confident about it. So you can prove it from 1/6 type of thing, because see, volume of parallelopipe will be double the volume of prism. Why? Because if I complete this parallelogram, okay, of course you just need two sides. I mean, in terms of vector, to complete a triangle, to complete the parallelogram, then we know that diagonal divides the parallelogram into two triangles of equal area. So volume of parallelopipe will be twice the volume of the prism. Okay, and volume of parallelopipe is 6 times the volume of tetrahedron. That you all might be knowing as a standard result. So from there also we can easily say that volume of tetrahedron is 1/6 the volume of parallelopipe, and hence 1/3 the volume of prism. But I have another explanation, rather an analogy, not the explanation. I will say I draw the analogy from the result which we use for cone and cylinder, the example which I took a few minutes back. So there also the volume of cone is 1/3 the volume of what? Cylinder. Right circular cone, right circular cylinder. So we can compare it. Now my logic behind that is, see, it's a polygon. I mean, if n-sided polygon, the relation will be same. So if I consider the circle to be infinite sided polygon, okay, in that case this will be the cone and this will be the cylinder. So that's the logic I use whenever I'm using it. So in that case, 1/3 into area of base, half triangle, so A into B sine theta, A into B sine pi/4, which is 1/√2, okay, into height, which is 1, and this is nothing but 1/6. So this is gone, this is gone. So AB by √2 is equal to 1. Okay, so that's what we get. AP is given. No, sorry. How am I using AP? AP is not given. Just a minute, bachcho. AP is not given. Otherwise, this would have been a simple one, no? AP. So this is, just a minute. Let me correct it. So it's A into B into AP by √2, which is equal to 1. Okay. Now after that also it took me some time how to evaluate. I tried to evaluate A, B, and AP, but then we have 2 equations and 3 unknown. Okay, then all of a sudden I realized what are we given. That's what we wrote. I wrote in the previous slide. This is equal to 3, isn't that? So A plus B by √2, right? So then I realized something which I think by now you all would have seen, observed, that this is what and this is something. Now what? How are they related? See, this is nothing but, so if I take, if I apply AM, GM. AM of these 3 numbers is 1 and its GM is also 1. Okay, shall I do it? So if I say A plus B by √2 in plus, this is plus AP by 3 is greater than equal to A into B by √2 into AP raised to the power 1/3. This is 1 and this is 1. So of course they are equal. And AM is equal to GM when all are equal. So A plus B by √2 plus AP is equal to 3 means A is 1. B is √2. Acha, that's why I might have this thing in my mind, at the back of my mind, that I would have got AP as 1. That's why I used it earlier. Okay, directly. Now see, so A is 1, B is √2. Okay, then if you go for cos rule, cosine rule, you can find C, and I believe you will get this as C. So this, because I remember that this angle is also pi/2. So hence this is pi/2, this is 1, and PC, I don't think we can determine PC. Okay, we can. this is root 2, this is 1, so PC will be root 3. So this one is also correct. So A, B, C all are correct, right? Okay, now moving to the next question. In a triangle ABC, if the median through angle A, so vertex A, so median passing through vertex A and meeting the midpoint of the opposite side is L1, and through B is L2, through C is L3, and this is given for some 3 cross 3 matrix M. ABC are corresponding side lengths of the triangle. Then what? Okay, so this is some sort of situation for us. I mean, that's what the question says. So this is L1, similarly this might be L2, this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is nothing but L3. Okay, see, how did I approach it? I mean, there might be a better way. Again, I will say, if anyone could think about it, let me know. Okay, so how I started, I said, okay, let me assume, because they have asked in the question trace of the matrix, sum of all the elements of the matrix, is matrix symmetric or not, maybe the determinant of the matrix, everything. Okay, so I said, okay, let me start with as PQR STU XYZ. Let this be the matrix. Okay, and then we know A square, B square, C square. That's what are we given here. So it's PQR STU XYZ times L1 square, L2 square, L3 square. Okay, so we can directly write here the relation. The relation is A square is P L1 square plus Q L2 square plus R L3 square. Similarly, B square is S L1 square plus T L2 square plus U L3 square. Likewise, the C square is X L1 square plus Y L2 square plus Z L3 square. Okay, but then see, in triangle, we all should remember it. There's a Apollonius theorem which helps us in relating the side length of the triangle with the median of the triangle. Okay, so if I apply it, I mean, I'm redrawing it so that I could be clear in using it. Okay, this is D, this is L1. Okay, so that's the median L1. So it says that sum of the square of the other two sides, okay, is equal to 2 times the length of the median square plus the half of the length of the side for which you have drawn the median. So plus A by 2 whole square. Okay, now see, I use this. Okay, so somehow I remember this result. Bachcho, that's what I will say. Okay, now I can write for all the three. So B square plus C square, similarly B square plus A square will be 2L2 square plus C square by 2, and then we have A square plus C square will be 2L3 square plus B square by 2. If I add them all, okay, so 2A square minus half will be 3A square by 2. So 3 by 2 A square plus B square plus C square is equal to 2 times L1 square plus L2 square plus L3 square. So from here we can say A square plus B square plus C square will be 4 by 3 times L1 square plus L2 square plus L3 square. Fair. Okay. So that's one thing. Now if I go back and add all the three. Just a minute, let me take a slide here. Okay. Just a minute, let me insert the slide, otherwise it won't take more than a minute, so be patient. Normally I do it before starting the recording, but this time I don't know. I must be thinking something else, so might have missed. Just a minute, let me complete it. once for all. Yeah. So where were we? We were before. So many questions are still left. Okay, right. Fine. So what was I saying? Yeah. If I add all of them, okay, so we will get a square plus b square plus c square is equal to, okay, p plus s plus x. Okay, we got it. P plus s plus x L1 square, q plus p plus y L2 square, r plus u plus z L3 square, and then if I compare it with this form here, okay, so what can I say directly, bachcho? We can say here this imply p plus s plus x is 4 by 3, q plus p plus y is also 4 by 3, r plus u plus z is also 4 by 3. If you all say add all the elements, you will get at least the sum of all the elements of the matrix is 4. This one is done. Okay, now we are left with trace and other things. Now for that, see, for that again I started thinking, and then maybe, okay, yeah, I tried to get a square, b square, c square. Fine. How? See, we have b square plus c square is equal to 2l1 square plus a square by 2. Whereas we have b square plus c square, not here, rather here, yes, I'm sorry, yeah, rather here. So we have b square plus c square from here, which is b square plus c square is 4 by 3 times the sum of the square of all the medians minus a square. Just put that value here, bachcho. So it is 4 by 3 L1 square plus L2 square plus L3 square minus a square is equal to 2L1 square plus a square by 2. So if I take it this side, bring it that side, so it is 4 by 3 L2 square plus L3 square minus 6. So 2 by 3 L1 square is equal to 3a square by 2. Okay, 8 and 4 and 9. So I can say that a square is 8 by 3 L2 square, 8 by 3 L3 square minus 4 by 3 L1 square and whole divided by 3. Now let me compare it with the relation here, this relation here. Okay, so we can say at least this will be true, that this is a square, no? Let me check, just a minute. PQR, yeah. So this is Q, this can be R, and this can be P. Okay, so see, similarly, when you do it for B square, it will be for L2 square, which will appear as minus 4 by 3. If you do it for C square, it will be L3 square, whose coefficient will be minus 4 by 3. So that means if we add the diagonal elements P, T and Z, okay, it will be minus 4 by 3, minus 4 by 3, minus 4 by 3, rather minus 4 by 9, I'm sorry, 1 by 3, so minus 4 by 9, minus 4 by 9, minus 4 by 9, so it will be nothing but minus 4 by 3. So trace of the matrix, which is nothing but sum of all the elements, is this, and then it has to be symmetric. Why so? Because see, you got it as 8 by 9, rather, I'm sorry, minus 4 by 9, 8 by 9, 8 by 9, then again it will be 8 by 9, minus 4 by 9, 8 by 9, and something like that. Okay, then you go on just getting it, you will get it, I mean, you all would have understood it. Okay, so let's move quickly to the next question. Next question is, given this, so again, I got this question as a doubt and I really found it to be a good one. So this is the question which we have to evaluate, the series, and rest then you can do, because summation of TR, summation of TN, summation of TX, whatever it is, and none of these. See, the first thing, let me discuss here, what did I think about it? So I'll be solving this 7, okay. 3R plus 7, see, the only thing which I started thinking while solving this question is to rewrite it as the difference of two terms. I'm not sure. ur minus 1 or ur minus 1 minus ur or ur plus 1, whatever they are. Difference of two consecutive terms. So okay, that's the most important, most crucial, most useful method, because if I can't use any standard method to solve the series, the first thing and the only thing which I keep trying to use or thinking on it is this thing. Okay, so while thinking on it, I realized that, see, if we have to rewrite as a difference of two terms, so there should be some homogeneous type of thing in the denominator. What does that mean? According to me, what I want to say here is this has power 2, this has power 2, this has power 1. So the first thing I thought is to convert it to this thing again. Why? See, the point is, when you rewrite, so of course there are three terms, each with power 3. So there's a possibility that 2 will stay here, 2 will go with this one, 2 will here, 2 will here, all the 3 here, all the 3 here. But then if you have two powers same and one different, how can you distribute it in a way that you have similar thing in the denominator? I mean, if this is ur, then the power of all the terms here in the denominator, power should at least match, isn't that? So that's how I started. So that was the first thing. Then I of course multiplied to check what do we have. So 7r, 10r, and then it is 7. Now, since I had at the back of my mind what I have to do, so now again I started thinking how to rewrite. So one thing is, since in numerator we need quadratic, and I am thinking to rewrite numerator as the difference of two factors, okay, as the difference of two terms. So if I have to get a quadratic after writing the difference, so that means I should rewrite it as a difference of two cubic polynomial. R cube gets cancelled. Why? Because in all these factors the coefficient of r is positive 1. So whatever factor you choose, with whatever power you choose, in any case when you multiply and take the difference, the highest degree term will get cancelled. So I was pretty sure that I have to start with cubic term. Now again I started thinking cubic term such that you have in the denominator something like r and whatever. This is term r, then this has to be the next term, maybe r plus 1 a term or r minus 1 a term. Okay, so then I thought, okay, let me first consider r plus 3 whole square into r plus 1 as 1. Okay, now what will that what will that leave for me once I remove from here in the denominator r plus 3 whole square into r plus 1? I will be left with r plus 1 into r plus 2 whole square. R plus 1 into r plus 2 whole square. Now if I have to write its next term, it has to be r plus 2 into r plus 3 whole square. So that means next one I took it as r plus 1 whole square into r plus 2. Okay, now let's try this. Okay, do I get numerator or not is the question. Okay, so it is r plus 3 whole square, r square plus 6r plus 9 into r plus 1 minus r plus 2 whole square, rather r square plus 2r plus 1, r plus 1 whole square into r plus 2. Let's simplify it. Of course r cube will get cancelled. So it is 6r square and 7r square. It is 2r square, so at least 7r square minus 4r square gives us 3r square, which is the first term we need in the numerator. So that part is being taken care of. Now what next is the coefficient of r. So it is 6r plus 9r, 15r minus it's r plus 4r minus 5r. So we have 10r. So I think that's the case here, 10r. So we are done. And then highest 9 minus 2 is 7. So quotient is 9 minus 2 is equal to 7. Done. Okay, so I can rewrite this as summation over r plus 3 whole square into r plus 1 minus r plus 1 whole square into r plus 2 whole divided by this, and this. Okay, now when you do it, so you get it as summation tr is 1 upon, summation of r plus 1 into r plus 2 whole square minus summation of r plus 2 into r plus 3 whole square, and that's it. Okay, so that's it. Of course we don't need to put the summation because now we'll be using putting the values of r, and then alternate terms will get cancelled. If you are left with one term in the beginning, you will be left with only one term in the beginning, one term with opposite sign at the last. Why? Because we have written it, we could write it as a difference of two consecutive terms, and that's it. Rest you people can easily complete. But moving to the next question. Next question is, we are given f dash x is equal to 192 x cube upon 2 plus sine raised to the power 4 pi x. See, that was again an interesting question. Actually, I forgot this question, so I just left it as a capital M and a small m. Okay, I just left it like that, bachon. Okay, so see, since we need this, so again that question I got as a doubt, bachon. Okay, so first I tried to find, of course we can't even imagine of solving this integral and get f of x. Okay, so from here itself I thought of using the inequality for definite integration, which says is of course fx lie between gx and h of x. Then we can apply definite integral over the inequality. Okay, so since x lie between half to 1, okay, and f of half is 0, so I said okay, f dash x is less than or equal to, if I maximum value will be when denominator is minimum. Okay, minimum denominator means this is 0 when x is equal to 1, so sine pi is 0, so it is 192 by 2, so 192 by 2 is how much? 96, I saw, yeah, 96 x cube. Okay, and it is greater than, so if I use x as half, so sine pi by 2, when denominator is maximum, the value is minimum, so it is 192 by 3, which is 64 x cube. Okay, so that's one thing. Now I try to integrate from half to x, because half is the lower thing, half to 1, and f of half is given also, so half to x. Okay, so this is of course f of x minus f of half, which is 0. Okay, so the moment I got that, so I got confident that yes, we can do it, we will get it. So it will be 96 by 4, which is 24 x raised power 4 minus 96 by 4 24 by 16, which is 3 by 2. Okay, and this is nothing but 64 by 4, which is 16 x raised power 4 minus 16 times 16 half raised to the power 4. So it's 1, isn't that? It's 1. Now see, again, I again applied, so this is it, half to 1, that's it. So now whatever you get was the answer. I mean, that's what I said. I really forgot what have they asked. I was related to m and n. Okay, they might have asked the possible values of m and n, they might have asked whatever. I got the answer using it. Now you integrate, so it was like 26 by 10 to 39 by 10. If I remember it correctly, this end was 26 by 10 and this end was 31 by 10. You just check it out. You get something else, is a different thing. I mean, I don't remember it, but now I think every one of you, all of you can easily complete it. So moving to the next question, question number 8. If omega be the imaginary nth root of unity, then the value of this is, so nth root of unity, so I can write z is for n minus 1 as z minus 1 into z minus omega into z minus omega square, z minus omega cube, and so on, z minus omega raised power n minus 1. That's it. Okay, so now if I take it to that denominator, see why did I start with this? Of course, that's the only way to get these things. I mean, I'll be replacing z by omega at the end. Okay, so first, since I don't need z minus 1, so I will divide it by 1 and then I will rewrite it as a gp, nth term gp, isn't that, bachon? 1 plus z squared dot 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 plus z is n minus 1. So this is nothing but, if you bring it this side from here, so this is this. So now I don't need z minus omega also, so I will bring it here, so z minus omega square, because the series start from omega cube. Okay, I don't need even this one also. Acha, right. You don't have option in front of you because, but since it was a question where it was an objective type of question, in the answer they had omega minus omega square in the denominator, so I won't bother about it. Okay, so now if you put z is equal to omega, if I put z is equal to omega, okay, so in that case, I mean the alpha in that case, okay, so it will be 0 by 0 form. It's going to be 0 by 0 form. So what I did was, again, applying what L'Hospital rule. So if you differentiate it and put z is equal to omega, it will be omega plus 2, rather 1 plus 2 omega, because z differentiated, there is no z in that case. 1 plus 2 omega plus 3 omega square plus dot 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 n minus 1 into omega raised to power n minus 2 upon differentiated, you get 1 upon 1 is equal to omega minus omega square, and replace it by omega minus omega cube z by omega, and that's what you get here. So you bring it this side, you bring it this side, and you have the answer. Okay, so the purpose of this question was, if you have to start with this, so z minus 1 we have already done, so it was like z minus omega and then replace z by omega. So we have to apply once the L'Hospital rule or to solve this limit here, bachcho. Okay, so now let's move to the next question, which is number of complex numbers z such that mod z is less than 3, and this is given to us. Okay, so see how if I started, the first thing I did was a1z plus a2z square plus dot 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 an z raised to the power n is equal to 1. That's what we are given. Then see, mod is given here, mod is given here. Okay, so the only thing I could think at that time was, since these are equal, their modulus has to be same. So apply modulus and then apply the mod inequality. So okay, I said that this is equal to less than, because this is equal to 1, and we know mod of z1 plus z2 plus z3 is less than equal to mod z1 plus mod z2 plus mod z3, and so on and so on. So this is less than or equal to mod of a1z plus mod of a2z square plus dot 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 mod of a n z is to the power n. And since the maximum value of mod of ar is 2, so if I use it, if it is less than for any value of ar, it has to be less than its maximum value, so half times mod z square and dot 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 mod of z is to the power n. Okay, so now see, if I apply here of course that's nothing but a gp, so mod of z into mod z raised to the power n minus 1 upon mod z minus 1. Okay, but 1 minus mod z. Now again, see, if I take it to the maximum value, bachcho, if I take it to the maximum value, maximum possible number of terms, infinite. See, you are adding the numbers. So the maximum value of this expression can be when n is infinity. If I take it to infinity, the value is mod z 1 upon 1 minus mod z. Okay, now again if I take the maximum value of z in that case, okay, so it is 1 by 3, it is 2 by 3, and then it is less than or equal to 1. But in that case also, see, in that case also it can't be equal to 1. Why? Because neither this is 1 by 3, nor we have infinite terms, nor this is 2. Okay, so they are all, this is neither this is 2, nor this is 1 by 3, nor we have infinite terms. So we have used so many approximations, so it can't be even equal to 1. Okay, so in that case, not possible. So number of complex numbers z such that, so there is no such z possible. Okay, so there is no such z possible, bachcho. So moving to the 10th question. 10th one is the number of ways of arranging 5 boys, 5 girls in a queue such that in front of each girl number of girls are more than or equal to the number of boys is p, and then what happens? See, when I was thinking on this question, I got a suggestion. We have a very good question. I think I would have discussed it, n cross n grid. Okay, so if I take it as 5 cross 5 grid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That won't be a straight line, but okay, that's the diagonal. That's the diagonal. Okay, so 5 cross 5 is square grid. Okay, now see, in how many ways, if you start from here, you can reach here, O to P. In how many ways we can start from O and reach P? Okay, so my approach is, so there are two possible approach. One approach is select 5 steps out of 10. Why 10? You have to take 5 steps horizontally, 5 steps vertically. You would have done this question, come across this question sometime in first year or second year while doing PNC. And so I am not repeating. I didn't repeat the question. The question goes like, you start from origin, you have to go to this point along the grid where you can only move towards right or up. You can't turn back to left or come back to left, or you can't go down. Okay, so those are the possible ways. So from here to here you have to take 10 steps. So 10 steps, and that out of those 10 steps you fix any 5. Any 5 means 5 horizontal, 5 vertical, in any ways. Okay. Other way of doing it is, I mean that's one way of getting this answer. Another way is, I always say there are like 6 horizontal lines. On those 6 horizontal lines, let's say I take x1 number of steps on first line, x2 number of steps on second, x3 number of steps on third. So x1 plus x2 plus x3 and on 6 should be equal to 5. Now you fix these number of steps. Let's say I didn't take any step on the first line. That means you are moving up. Let's say even x2 is also 0. That means you will move up. Then you will say, okay, x3 is 2. So that means you move till here. Okay, and then you move up. And then there is no step on this, then you move up, and then again you take 3, you come here, and then you move up, and that's it. I think I'm clear. Okay, so non-negative integral solution. Non-negative integral solution, what does that give? So that gives 11, 10, C 5, n plus r minus 1, C r minus 1, this is n, this is r. R means number of variables, which are 6 here. Okay, so 10 C 5, 10 C 5, that's it. I mean, you can do it directly. Out of 10 steps, you choose any 5, rest 5 gets fixed. Okay, for sure. So that's it. So now, how there was a very good question in this one only. There was a question in how many ways you can start from O, reach P without crossing this diagonal. That's why I do the diagonal, without crossing this diagonal. So there's again a method which says that you draw a diagonal parallel to this one. Of course it has to pass through this, parallel to this one. Okay, which will move this, which will meet this 6th horizontal line on the 6th vertical line. Okay, now think about any way of reaching here where you cross the diagonal. Now take the mirror image of this path. Take mirror image of this path. Which color shall I use now? Maybe dark green. Okay, or maybe yellow. Mirror image of this blue color path on this green diagonal. Okay, so when you do it, I mean, it won't be that easy for me. Go like this, you go like this. Okay. Here, its mirror image will be here. Okay. Mirror image will be here. Okay. Okay, so what does that mean? See, every time you are crossing it, okay, and reaching it here, reaching here. Okay, so where will you reach? Actually, I'm sorry, you will reach here. Its mirror image is here. So every time you are crossing this red diagonal, okay, and take the mirror image of the path on the green diagonal, you will be reaching here. Okay, so how many times you can be crossing this diagonal will be the same as if you have to reach this point, and this point is nothing but 6 and 4. I mean, this is 6, 4. That was 5, 5. Okay, but here there's a point. Either you choose 4 steps vertically or 6 steps horizontally. Okay, so this means if I remove this many steps, 10C4, number of ways of reaching from here without diagonal, crossing the diagonal of this figure, I mean the red diagonal, you get those many ways. So 10C5 minus 10C4. Now I use this exactly the same logic here. Okay. So that's one way of doing it. Acha, but there's one more way. I mean, before getting this thing, getting this answer, or before getting to this solution, because I didn't think on this solution. Okay, what I did was I said, okay, because from that only I could relate this question with this question. I said, okay, if you don't have to cross this diagonal, red diagonal, so that means when you are moving horizontally, I mean, if you are here, okay, you have to take only one step vertical. Okay, if you are here, you can't take more than 2 steps on the vertical line. On the 3rd vertical line, you can't take more than 3 steps. On 4th vertical line, you can't take more than 4 steps. On 5 vertical line, you can't take more than 5 steps. And there's one more case, and that is till 4 steps. At any point of time, you can't take. See, I said on 4th this line, vertical line, you can't take more than 4 steps. Okay, but till 4th vertical line, you can't take more than 4 steps. That's also the case, because if you, before reaching here, I mean, if you say, okay, till here I can't take more than 3 steps, so I take 2, 1 here, 2 here. Okay, and then, I mean, before this, so that means if you take 1 here and then 2 here, you cross it. So till 3 you can't take more than 3 steps, and on 3 also you can't take more than 3 steps. Okay, so what I said, instead of using x1 plus x2 plus x3, I started from the basic on the first one. First one is, bacho, which one? For me, this is the first one. This is second one, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth. So on the first one, I have only one choice, 2 choices. Either you don't move up or you take only 1 step. On second one, you have again 1 plus x square. Third step, 1 plus x, 2 steps, or at most 3 steps. Fourth one, 1 plus x cube plus x raised power 4. On fifth step, 1 plus x square plus x cube plus x raised power 4. Plus x raised power 5, and one more thing, and of course I'm looking for the sum of the coefficient of x raised power 5 in this expansion, because at last I have to end up at 5 steps, end up taking total 5 steps. Okay, but as I said, now I have to include that condition that till second line I can't take more than 2 steps. Okay, so when I multiplied till here, I'll be collecting the terms of x square only, not x cube. So 1 plus x is 2x, plus x square is 2x square. That's it. I won't consider x cube here, not at all. Because till second line, if I in total I take 3 steps, I will cross the diagonal. So now I will multiply it with this, so I will get, I'm writing it directly. Now there's a pattern, very clear cut pattern. Okay, so you go on adding the terms. So 1 plus 2 is 3x, plus 2 is 5x square, and see, the second last and largest term, the second last and largest degree term have same coefficient, 5x cube. And then next one will be, I'm writing, when you multiply it with this one, it will be 1 plus 3 is 4x, plus 5 is 9x square, plus 5 is 14x cube. And as I said, these two will have the same thing. And then when you multiply it with this one, last one, and we have to get the term, so 1 plus 5 plus 14x square plus 28x cube plus 42x raised power 4 plus 42x raised power 5. Coefficient of x raised power is 42. 42 should be the answer. There are 42 ways such that number of girls are more than, always before any boy, number of girls are more than number of boys. Now how can I relate? Number of horizontal steps will always be more than number of vertical steps, and then only you won't be crossing this diagonal line. And that's what I took care of while solving using this method, or while solving this. So these are the number of ways, okay, of selecting the slots. Now 5 girls and 5 boys, they can be arranged in 5 factorial into 5 factorial. So 42 into 5 factorial into 5 factorial, and that's why they have asked it, dividing it by p by 5 factorial into 5 factorial. So the answer should be 42 here, bachcho. Okay, so that was an interesting question according to me, bachcho. Now let's move to the next question, and which says, let Sn be this and Tr is this. Sn is equal to half times Tn plus 1 by Tn. Okay, now see again, what I did, I just considered this. Of course, this is a quadratic in Tn. So if we rewrite it, so 2 Tn square 2 Sn Tn plus 1 equal to 0. So what can I write for Tn? Tn is nothing but, of course, using Seedha-Char formula. So 2Sn plus minus under root of 4Sn square minus 4 divided by 2, 2, 2, 4, 4 gone. So this is nothing but Tn, nth term is Sn plus or Sn minus. Okay, so of course nth term can't be, since all the terms are positive, first term is 1, all the terms are positive. So Tn can't be more than Sn, it has to be minus times this minus this. That's one thing. Now we know that Sn minus 1 is equal to Tn, and Tn is equal to Tn. Okay. Then what I did, wait, just turn, and there's a correction, this is 18. Okay, that's again a very good question, just give me a minute, okay, I'm running short of time. Wait, patience. Okay, so that's also we are given. Okay, so I can write Sn as half times, so 2Sn as Tn, Sn minus Sn minus 1 plus 1 upon Sn minus 1. No, yeah, I got it. So bring these terms this side. So it is nothing but Sn plus Sn minus 1 into Sn minus 1 is equal to 1. So of course they are reciprocal of each other. So we have Sn square minus Sn minus 1 square is equal to 1. Now just go on putting the values here. So S2 square minus S1 square is equal to 1, S3 square minus S2 square is equal to 1, so on and so on. S100 minus S99 square is equal to 1. How many terms we have? We have 99 terms. When you add them, they will get cancelled. So S100 square minus S1 square, which is 1 because it is same as T1, is equal to 99. So S100 square is equal to 100. Hence, S100 is nothing but 10. One more thing. Okay, if you go till n, you will be having n minus 1 terms plus 1. So that means in general, Sn is nothing but root of n. That's it. Sn is nothing but root of n. So if you go for this thing, so limit n tends to infinity, Sn into Tn is Sn minus under root. So you rationalize it, Sn plus under root of Sn square minus 1. Infinity by infinity form, we all know how to solve it. You will take Sn common and the answer is half also. This is also done. The interesting thing is here. Okay, so what last we need is 1 plus 1 by root 2 because I spent lot of time in getting it and luckily at last I could get it, bachon. Okay, now see, to get this, I mean the range, because I need its greatest integer. Of course we can't solve it, we can't even think to solve it, bachon. So what I did, I just used the curve here and definite integration. Okay, so I use the curve here and the definite integration. Just a minute. Okay, fine. This is the curve of y is equal to 1 by root x, bachon. Okay, now if I draw it here, 1, 2, 3 till 99, 100, 101. Okay, now see, I can get this expression, the series, this expression, if I do it like complete these rectangles. So area of this one is 2 and one time I can complete it from this side. So in blue, when I'm writing in blue, okay, so when you will be completing it from here to here, so this area of this rectangle is 1, this is rectangle is 1 by root 2 because this point is 3 comma 1 by root 3, so this rectangle will be root 3 and so on, root 100, 1 by root 100, okay, 1 by root x. Okay, so that means 1 plus 1 by root 2 and so on, 1 by root 100 is more than, of course not equal to, is more than the summation from 1 to 100, 1 by root x dx, and the summation is nothing but 2 root x and 1 to 101. So 2 root of 101 is approximately 10 point something, minus 1 is 9 point something, so is greater than 9 point something is greater than 18 point something. It's greater than 18 point something. Now see, interestingly, for this one, okay, I started from here. So this is this area is 1 by root 2, this area is 1 by root 3. So I said, okay, 1 plus 1 by root 2 plus dot 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 1 by root 100 is actually, now see the orange one, I just left that one outside, okay. The orange one is less than, so it's actually less than 1 plus, again, root x, 1 by root x, okay, dx from 1 to 101. So it's less than 1 plus, okay, and it's the same expression here, bachcho. Why? Because the last one will be completed from here. Okay, so the last one will be completed from the that side. Okay, rather from here. Okay, 100. So I won't be going till 101. It will be till 100 only. So less than 1 plus, and this is nothing but 18. So less than 19. So greater than 18 point something, less than 19. Greatest integer is 18. So that's it. So that was the question. Now moving to the 12th one. Now 12th one is, see, let's say the modulus, all the modulus are p. Now what I did, okay, I just multiplied and divided by zk bar. So it's mod of zk square, which is p square, which is a constant. So I took it out, p square, from complete out of it, and then I wrote it as zk bar, where k goes from 1 to n, summation zj bar, j goes from 1 to n. Now see, this is z1 bar plus z2 bar plus dot 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 zn bar into z1 plus z2 zn. Now the property says that this is nothing but whole bar. Now complex number into its conjugate is nothing but, so it's 1 by p square into mod of z1 plus z2 and so on whole square, and this is 0. There's no imaginary part here. This is 0. Okay, so when is that possible? This is possible only when the sum of all these complex number is 0. So hence the answer should be 0 here. So that is question number 12. Moving to question number 13. Fx be a non-constant twice differentiable function on the C. For this I just try to find, is this function a symmetric function about any point? About any point. It will take 5 minutes more. Okay, so about any point or not. So for that, see, what I said, what I tried actually was, I replaced it with 2y, something like that. Okay, so once we get it, so x plus 3y, so I got it as f of y is equal to f of 2y plus 13, x to be replaced by 2y minus 13. So in that case, x will be replaced by, okay, I'm sorry, here also there's a mistake. This is 3 minus x by 2. I'm really sorry for that. If you people would have tried using the PDF. So that's the mistake here. Okay, so 3 minus, it will be, x will be 2y plus 13 by 2. So f of it is 8 minus y. So f of y is equal to f of 8 minus y. Now see, I replaced y by 4 plus y. So 4 plus y is equal to f of 4 minus y, and that's it. Now this tells us that the entire curve is symmetric about y, x is equal to 4 line. Symmetric about x is equal to 4 line. Now this is 0, of course this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we have 9. Okay, now it is symmetric about 4. Now see, what are we given? We are given derivative 0 at 0, half, 2, 3 and 9 by 2. 4 points on the left side of 4, 1 point on the right side of 4, and the curve is symmetric about x is equal to 4. So 9 by 2 is somewhere here. So that's your 9 by 2, so it will be symmetric. So symmetric says if it is 0 here, a derivative it is 0 here. It is 0 at 3, it has to be 0 at 5. It is 0 at 2, it has to be 0 at 6. It is 0 at half, it has to be 0 at 0 to 1, 7 to 7 by 2, 15 by 2 if I am not wrong, yeah. And that's it. If it is 0 at 0, it has to be 0 at 8. At how many points the derivative is 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And one more thing, since it is symmetric, it's a differentiable function, it has to be 0 at 4 also. Why? Because there need to be a term for it to be symmetric about x is equal to 4 line. So this is 0 at 4 also. Now, using Rolle's theorem, we know between any two zero of a function, its second derivative will have a root, minimum one root. So minimum one root here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So f double dash x is equal to 0 has minimum 10 roots. has minimum 10 roots in the interval 0 to 9. So now what are we looking for? Actually we are looking for the number of roots of h of x is equal to 0, which is f double dash x whole square. So h of x is f double dash x common, it's f dash x plus f double dash x. That's it. Okay, so we have already got 10 roots of this. Now see, the way I analyze, that's what I will say. The way I analyze is quite interesting here. I said, okay, let's say this is 2 here, this is 3 here, and the curve is something like this. It is 0 here and 0 here. Turn, there are turns at 2 and 3. Okay, now see, of course, one has to be maximum, one has to be minima. At minima, f double dash, see here f dash x is 0, f double dash x is positive. Here f dash x is 0, f double dash x is negative. So the sum at 2 of f double dash x plus f double dash x goes from positive to negative. So and again it's a second order second differentiation is there. So that means this function has to be continuous, and for continuity from positive to negative it will also have one root between any two root of f dash x. So it will again have 10 roots. So 10 and 10 means 20 roots minimum you will have for this function equal to 0. So now quickly moving to 14th question. Now see, that's a typical question on vector. You try to use it so many things, but I believe vector is the thing. So I will assume S vector as ai cap plus bj cap plus ck cap, and t vector as pi cap plus q j cap plus r k cap. Now take their dot product and that's it. So it's mod magnitude of vector s, magnitude of vector t, cos theta. So of course this is less than equal to magnitude of vector s, which is nothing but 3 into magnitude of vector t. See, it's the maximum magnitude is also 4. So in any case we are looking for maximum. So this is maximum value can be 12 only. Okay, so that's it. So next and the last question here is this one. Okay, now see, to solve this I just started with this one. So replace e raised power x by t here. So I get I2 as, I will get it as when t is 0, this is 1 to infinity, and x will be ln t, dx will be dt by t, and then when you put it here it will be t into 1 by t plus 3 dt, which is nothing but 1 to infinity ln t by t square, t square plus 3t plus 1. Okay, but see, the point here is this is from 0 to infinity, and but there is mod of ln x also. So I will write I1 as minus 0 to 1, because from 0 to 1 ln x is negative. So I will replace mod ln x by ln x dx and then plus 1 to infinity. Now this is nothing but I2. What about this? What about this? So for that I will say replace e raised power minus x by t. In the same I2 you will get this also as I2, but just do it. Just do it. This is also I2. So I2 plus I2, so it's 2I2. So I1 by I2. I think all of you can easily do it. So that was the last question of the day. So that was the miscellaneous practice sheet. I think that will be helpful for you for the upcoming advanced paper, bachcho.